President Obama has stated more than once his goal is to have a single-payer system. Are you for a single-payer system, and will you vote for a bill that would make a single-payer system either through the bill or in the future?
I'm prepared to keep single-payer on the table as a matter of consideration and flexibility. I believe that when we're in the formative stage of figuring out what to do, that we ought to consider every option, and we ought to hear the people out. I know the public opinion polls are high in favor of single payer. I know that. Okay. Well, I guess you can get a poll about any way you want it, but my idea is to keep the public option on the table, to keep single payer on the table, to get a sense in America, as we're going to be debating this all month on meetings like these, and figure out what the American people would like to have. So I'm flexible. Who has number 6?
You're 9. I'm 6. I love you, buddy, but that's okay. Senator, thanks for being here today. I appreciate that. I reviewed 3,200 best I could. To me, it is obviously written with the assumption that government has the right to control our lives from pre-birth to death. For that reason, it's not worth considering, it's not worth modifying, it's not worth amending. It needs to be dumped totally. I believe the polls show that most people are happy with their health care. There's a few problems. The illegals. They shouldn't even be here, let alone our federal government. I would ask Congress to do something to send them home so we don't have to deal with that. There are people who don't want to pay for coverage. Then let them pay for the service when they get the service. We shouldn't have to provide for that. There are some people who are both evidently, they would like to have care, they're unable. President Bush used to say, help those who can't help themselves. Let's focus on those minor problems. Let's focus on tort reform. Let's focus on helping people carry their coverage over to a new job. But leave us alone. That's all we would ask. Would you leave us alone? I would like to ask you today if you would commit to working on those problems rather than throwing everything into turmoil. That would be my request.
Well, would I commit to working on those problems and not throwing everything into turmoil? That's a pretty generalized statement that I can agree with. Stay in touch. I'll be back next year. But if I'm reelected, I'll be back the year after that. Who has number 7?
Thank you for coming, Arlen Specter. I appreciate it.
Let me answer more fully. I don't want to see turmoil. You don't want to see turmoil. We want to have a sensible answer. We have a series of problems, and we want to take them up one by one. And we want to figure out what the problem is and what is the way that we should deal with them in a democracy.
How about 3,400? How about 3,400? Are you familiar with that, sir?
Not familiar with 3,400. Let me move on to number 7.
Thank you. I am a Republican, but first and foremost, I'm a conservative. I don't believe this is just about health care. It's not about TARP. It's not about left and right. This is about the systematic dismantling of this country. I'm only 35 years old. I have never been interested in politics. You have awakened the sleeping giant. We are tired of this. This is why everybody in this room is so ticked off. I don't want this country turning into Russia, turning into a socialized country. My question for you is, What are you going to do to restore this country back to what our founders created according to the Constitution?
Well, there are a few people who didn't stand up and applaud, but not too many. I get a fairly firm message from the support you have, young lady. When you asked me to defend the Constitution, that's what I've been doing.